Hey there Starseekers, Luke here, and welcome back to the channel, where it's once more time to delve into the wonderful weirdness that is Kuuki Yomi, or Consider It. The game's third installment has just released, titled Kuuki Yomi 3, Consider It More and More, Father to Son, and if you've never heard of this game series before, then let me enlighten you. Kuuki Yomi is a Warioware style minigame game with a large dose of Japanese culture and humour. It essentially sees you playing through 100 such games, where your objective is to be as considerate or as inconsiderate as you can in each particular scenario. These range from the logical to the utterly obscure, and this third game in the series brings us another great set of minigames to muddle our way through. If you want to check out my reviews of the first two games, I'll leave them linked in the description box below, but for now let's get right on into this review. So upon starting the game, you're given 3 game modes to choose from. You have the standard Consider It mode, where you can play through all 100 minigames in one sitting, Quick Consider It, where you play through 10 minigames at a time, or Consider It Together mode, where you and a friend can play alongside one another, and we'll take a look at this mode shortly. For now though, let's dive straight into Consider It mode and take a look at what you can expect from the game. Now to start with, the game gives you a little bit of an introduction, explaining that you're free to make your own decisions and be as considerate or as inconsiderate as you like. It also gives you a bit of direction, instructing you to move the red object on the screen to perform whatever you consider to be the most appropriate action. Following this, you then start working your way up through the minigames one by one, and every 5 levels you'll be given a little feedback on the choices you've made in these levels and how considerate you were deemed to be. Now the games themselves vary wildly, and each one lasts between 10 and 30 seconds. If you've come from playing the first 2 games, then you'll likely recognise some of the familiar staples of the series, such as the boyfriend-girlfriend scenarios and the ones where you get to select the appropriate venue based on the situation, but there are also a ton of new minigames with wholly new scenarios that you won't have seen before. Now before we take a look at a few examples of the types of games that you can expect, it's worth noting that Kuuki Yomi is of course a Japanese game, and many of the scenarios are based around Japanese etiquette and their opinions of what is considered to be the polite and correct way of conducting oneself. So don't be confused if you perform an action and find out it wasn't the most considerate thing you could have done. The game is also steeped in Japanese humour, but it also throws the odd reference to Western culture, more so than the previous 2 titles. So each time you begin a minigame, you're usually given an introduction to the scenario, though sometimes you're just dropped into the game without any kind of instructions. As described earlier, you control the red object on the screen, and you're able to move or manipulate it in different ways to perform various actions. For example, here we see you standing up in a train full of people when one passenger kindly gets up and offers his seat up to a little old lady. Now you have the option here of doing the right thing and letting Granny hobble away over to the seat and rest those weary legs. Or alternatively, you can try and barge your way into it, and after she powerhouses her way through you to take the seat, instead decide to sit in her lap. Other scenarios see you controlling various body parts, like here I'm controlling this character's legs and I'm given the option of moving them out of the way of this person, but instead I decide to kick them as they walk by. You could also find yourself controlling a particular object, like a paper plane containing a love note which you must glide to the recipient, or something like this crab which you can politely hop into the water with, or alternatively chase away the approaching pedestrians with snapping claws. Now after playing through all 100 scenarios in this game and the previous 2 games, I felt like the developers have erred more on the side of logic with Consider It 3, and although there was still the odd minigame that left me completely confused, the majority of them have logical solutions. Kuuki Yomi 3 also features a few longer, more in-depth minigames, which does offer a bit of a change of pace from the usual quick-fire ones. So after working your way through all the games in Consider It mode, you'll then be graded on your performance in them and receive a certain number of points, based on the different marking criteria such as timing, empathy and insight. You can also get a detailed breakdown of these criteria which explains what each one is, and this will help guide you towards becoming a more considerate person in subsequent runs. Now upon returning to the main menu, you'll find that a few new options have been unlocked for you to take a look at. These include things like Chapters mode, which allows you to select and play any single minigame, Inconsiderate mode, which flips the game's rules on its head and you have to be as inconsiderate as you can, and the extras menu has a couple of high score chaser minigames for you to play, including an endless runner style game where you have to avoid collisions with a variety of different characters, and a game called Gondolas Forever where you have to move this platform up and down and direct the right people towards the correct exits. In addition to these new game modes, you also have a secrets menu featuring a rather obscure list of achievements for you to unlock through various actions in minigames, and in the Past You menu you can take a look back at your previous runs of the game to see how you progress with your efforts to become a more considerate human being. Now if unlike me you actually have a friend to play along with, Consider It Together mode features 2 player versions of some of the single player scenarios, and it also has some of its own unique scenarios that you won't actually encounter in the single player game. In this mode you also have the added option of either working together or against each other, and after completing 10 of these scenarios, you and your partner will then be graded on how well you perform together. So if you've seen either of my previous reviews on the first 2 games, it won't come as any surprise when I say that I really enjoyed playing through this title. It features more of the same kooky humour that the series is well known for, and while there are a few minigames which are very similar to those found in previous titles, the vast majority of them are new, so it doesn't feel like you're just replaying old minigames in Kuuki Yomi 3. As with previous titles, the game features the same MS Paint style visual aesthetics which you'll either love or hate, and all the classic sound effects and music return once more, which are all rather simple but by now are synonymous with the series. Now when it comes to rating Kuuki Yomi 3, I have to admit that having played through 3 of the games, my fondness for the series has grown, and I instantly purchased and played this game as soon as I saw its shadow dropped onto the eShop. Taking that into consideration along with the price and the content that the game has to offer, I'm going to be giving Kuuki Yomi 3, Consider It More and More, Father to Son, Jesus what a title, 3 out of 5 stars. As with the previous titles, Kuuki Yomi 3 isn't a game you're going to play day after day or for extended periods of time, but it is a fun little time filler game for the price, and I for one am looking forward to the next instalment in the series. You can get Kuuki Yomi 3 from the UK Switch eShop for £3.99, or from the US eShop where it's usually priced at $4.99. And that about wraps up this review of Kuuki Yomi 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure to hit that like button if it helped you out, let me know your thoughts on the game and whether you're a fan of the series in the comment section below, and if you've not already subscribed, make the super considerate action to do so, as I upload new Switch game reviews and content every couple of days. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.